Hey everybody, Steve Borey here from the American Casino Guidebook. If you're not familiar with us, please be sure to visit our website at americancasinoguidebook.com. And joining me today is my son, who also works at the American Casino Guidebook website, Matt Borey.
How's it going, everybody? And today we are interviewing Russ Fox. He is an accountant that specializes in gambling taxes. How are you doing today, Russ?
I'm doing well, thanks.
So I guess let's just start out with the basics in case anybody has never gambled before. How are gambling winnings treated for tax purposes?
Well, all income is taxable unless Congress exempts it. So you are supposed to add up all of your gambling winning sessions. If you're an amateur gambler, put them on your tax return as other income on Schedule 1, and your gambling losses up to the amount of your winnings can be deducted as an itemized deduction on Schedule A. You do have to itemize your deductions to get gambling losses.
And so then I guess that sort of answers my next question, which was how are winnings reported and can you deduct your losses? So you're saying that if every gambler should be keeping notes, and if they go to the casino and they win $20, they at the end of the day they got to come home and write that down and submit it to the IRS. Then, yeah.
That is what they are supposed to do. I'm not going to comment on whether people are reporting $20 wins, but they are supposed to. Also, unfortunately, there are some states that do not allow gambling losses. So
but that's against state income tax, not
that
federal
is state income tax, not gotcha. Federal. But people who live in the wrong states, and some of them have legal casinos, like West Virginia, you're just out of luck.
Yeah, those are real bit. And I think one state changed it last year. Did they? So, was it Michigan or something?
Correct. Michigan now allows gambling losses.
Okay, for those people, so if you sign, because anytime you get a jackpot of $1,200 or more on an electronic gaming machine in a casino, you would be issued a W-2G, correct?
That is correct.
So at the end of the year, you have to declare that as income.
Well, you have to declare all income. You are supposed to declare the non-jackpot winnings too. If you go in a casino and win $50, you are supposed to declare that $50. I'm licensed. The only advice I can give is you declare all your income.
Okay, you declare all your income, but most people at the end of the year, they are net losers. So how is that treated? Do you have to say every time you win, so okay, I won $20 here, and then I lost $50 here, so I'm down $30, and is that how you do it?
Believe it or not, yes. You take your gambling winning sessions. So the days you win, presumably it's one session, each day you would declare those as other income on Schedule 1. Your gambling losing sessions up to the amount of winnings. You cannot deduct gambling losses in excess of winnings. It's specifically prohibited. They're an itemized deduction on Schedule A.
All right, now, as we have sort of beat around, a lot of people probably don't do that. Is the IRS, have you heard stories of the IRS going after small-time gamblers for not doing what they're supposed to with a gambling log throughout the whole year?
No, I have never. I mean, it could come up in an audit where something else leads to it. I have seen big-time gamblers get hurt on this. There's a case out of Connecticut where somebody was gambling at, I can't remember if it was Foxwoods or Mohegan Sun, but he generated currency transaction reports in the millions of dollars and declared something like $300 or $3,000 of gambling winnings. And that beggars belief. And yes, he got caught.
Huh. Well, I mean, he could have lost it all, right? Too. So
yeah, but
yeah, but millions of dollars. That's
all right. Well, let me ask this, please, because we mentioned before that on an electronic gaming machine, whether it's a slot machine or roulette machine or a Keno machine, because they have these electronic. It gets very confusing. Okay, so if it's an electronic gaming machine, no matter what kind, you get issued a W-2G if you win $1,200 or more. The jackpot is $1,200 or more, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and they don't make a distinction whether it's a table game electronic version. So if it was blackjack or roulette or craps, whatever, if you're on a machine, it's $1,200 more, you get the W2G. So now how are table game players treated? Do they get a W2G also?
No, in general, they don't. There are some exceptions. There's some like proposition bets you can make at various games that have extreme odds where a W2G might be issued. But the general rule is you have to win $600 or more at odds of 300 to 1 or more. Most table game bets are 1 to 1 or 2 to 1 or 6 to 1, like certain things in craps, or even 30 or 50 to 1. But 300 to 1 takes like the jackpots, the progressive jackpots in like the Ultimate Texas Hold'em or various other kind of table games like that.
Yeah, I saw somebody one time. I was playing at Sam's Town in Vegas. They hit the progressive for Pi Got Poker, and they won like it was $500,000 or $1 million or something while I was at the table. That was pretty cool. So it'd be something more like that, right?
That's correct.
Now, what about online casinos? Like if you're playing at a table game at an online casino, is that treated like a live table game in a casino, or is that treated more like a slot machine in a casino?
Slot machine in a casino. It's an electronic game. And there are definitely the casinos have to issue W2Gs, and they are.
Gotcha. So even if it was like one of those ones where they have the live dealer, it's still just considered an electronic table game?
They're electronic games. I don't,
Gotcha.
as far as I know,
Mhm.
they're electronic games.
Now what about sports betting? Because how is sports betting treated? And when do they issue a W2G in sports betting?
The same rule of $600 of winnings at 300 to 1 odds or more, which basically means it has to be like prop bets on the Super Bowl. The first play will be a safety, which probably is 2,000 to 1 odds.
Mhm.
Things like that. But there are very, very few W2Gs issued for sports betting.
Now, one person had asked us a question. He said he was playing, I think, I forget what game it was, electronic roulette or something, and or maybe it was craps, and it's somehow he won $1,200, but he bet $600. So he didn't really win $1,200. He won $600, but
And his bet back.
yeah, so he got $600 and his bet back $600, but he got issued a W2G for $1,200. So how do you treat something like that?
Well, there's a court case called Park v. Commissioner. It's from the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia, the second highest court in the United States, by then Judge Kavanaugh, who is now on the Supreme Court. And it's one of the most gambler-friendly decisions ever. And it allows basically the session method. So let's assume that's your only gambling. You get a W2G for $1,200, but you already won $600. You're allowed to put down $600. You should attach a note to your return. The IRS has a form. It's Form 8275. It's a statement where you explain what you're doing. You could even just attach why you did this, just a piece of paper or a PDF document if you file electronically. But it is absolutely allowed that you pay tax on your winnings, not what the paperwork shows, because the casino did the right thing. The payout is $1,200. $1,200 is the amount of the W2G under current law. However, the person really won $600.
Right, but again, you can't do that unless you itemize your taxes, correct?
No, you can do that. You
Oh, you
just
can do that?
adjust.
Okay.
Oh,
You are allowed to. Let's say your total of
okay,
W2Gs
that's a good
is
one.
$20,000.
Mm-hmm.
Your winning session total is 15,000. You can
Mhm.
put down 15,000 as your winnings. You should attach a statement to your return explaining the difference, because the IRS matches, and the W2G total will not match. You're likely to get an IRS notice, but you are completely in the right, assuming you've got records to back that up.
I didn't realize that. I thought you always had to itemize to do that. So that's a good ruling.
That's not a gambling loss. To get
Mhm.
your gambling losses to offset that hypothetical 15,000 of winnings, there you do have to itemize.
Okay, gotcha.
Now, so let me ask you this. Do you think with online casinos are getting much more popular now because they're getting legalized in many different states now. I think it's up to like 11 or something now. Do you think it's going to become a bigger issue where people, if they forget or choose not to do the smaller wins and record those, do you think like that's going to become more of a problem, or not more of a problem, but where the IRS is going to be going after people for that, since technically they are owed the money?
It's going to be in certain states. Some of the states have reporting requirements to the state departments of taxation or Department of Revenue. And so let's say John Smith is gambling at some online casino. I'll use Michigan, but I don't remember if Michigan has this rule or not. Doesn't report his 5,000 of winnings, but the Michigan Department of Treasury knows about it. Well, he's going to get a love letter from Michigan saying, where's our gambling winnings on your tax return? And have to respond. And the states do share with the IRS. In fact, all of the 50 states, only one does not share information with the IRS, and it's Nevada, which we don't have a state income tax.
Gotcha. So there's been talk of the threshold for W-2 going up from 1,200 to 5,000 because to adjust it for inflation, because I believe it was 1977, I think it was. We looked this up before the interview when they set that $1,200 threshold. And I know we did a video with you a few years ago. You said there was no chance that it was going to go up to the 5,000. Do you still think that? Do you think there's a chance they're going to raise it?
It would have to be Congress that would raise it. The IRS is not going to. The last proposal was to drop it, lower it to 600.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay. The chance of them raising it is, the IRS voluntarily, same as it's snowing in Las Vegas in August.
Not likely to happen. But one of the problems and I think the most common tax situation that people find themselves in is, and we're going to talk about, I just want to talk about the overall fairness of this tax system, because I think it's very unfair to gamblers, is most people, and they don't realize it until they happen to win a jackpot. So, okay, let's say they win a jackpot for $1,500. And so, oh, they're real happy and everything. But by the end of the year, they've lost the $1,500 back plus $2,000 more. So when it comes time to do their taxes, they file this W-2G, so they have to declare it as income, and they're going to find out they're going to have to pay tax on this. And if they don't itemize, since the standard deduction is so high relative to the, unless you have a lot of itemized deductions, they wind up just having to pay tax on money that they really didn't win because they lost it back. So what are your thoughts on that?
You're absolutely correct, but it's going to take Congress to change it.
And that's not
that simple. I mean,
to happen.
I'm all for, like, there are two states that allow gambling winnings and losses to be netted together, Pennsylvania and New Jersey. So if you are a resident of those states for state tax purposes, and you have, say, 3,000 of gambling winnings and 3,200 of losses, you don't have to pay a penny in tax.
That's good.
But unfortunately, the chance of our Congress, which is desperately looking for more money to change this, not high.
Right.
Now, let me ask you, since we're talking about U.S. taxes here, if a foreign citizen, somebody that is not a U.S. citizen and does not live in the U.S., say somebody from Europe somewhere is visiting Vegas for a vacation and they happen to hit a W-2G, do they have to pay taxes on that as well?
Well, here we get a yes and a no. It's going to depend specifically what countries they're from. Does that country have a tax treaty with the U.S. that exempts gambling? And there are many such countries that do. For example, the United Kingdom. Anybody from England who comes to the United States and wins a slot jackpot, there's nothing withheld. No tax at all, because the US-UK tax treaty specifies that. And if they're from the UK, they're even better off because the UK does not tax gambling winnings. However, let's say they're from Liechtenstein, which doesn't have a tax treaty with the US. Now 30% would be withheld. And I don't know anything about Liechtenstein's tax system. I chose that country mainly because I didn't have to look up that whether they had a tax treaty or not.
So,
Some of the
so-
countries don't, and you're just out of luck. You lose 30%.
okay, so you can't apply to get that 30% back as a foreign citizen?
Only residents of Canada can. The US-Canada tax treaty specifies that a Canadian can file a Form 1040-NR and get their the amount of their winnings, whatever they have in losses, back.
Hmm. Okay, well,
Well, I got one before we move on. I got a question there. I know you don't know the exact answer, but like ballpark number, are there a lot of countries that have that tax treaty where with the US where they wouldn't have to pay, or is it only like are we talking like 10%? We talking like 50%? Do you know, like just a ballpark number?
It's like 15 to 20 countries that have the tax treaty with the US.
Oh, okay.
There is a list in an IRS publication. I want to
Okay.
say it's publication 515. So anybody from a non-US outside the US can look this up. Now, the US and most foreign countries do have sharing information, where information about income from the US is shared with the other countries' tax agencies. And the US also gets that. So it's getting harder and harder to avoid taxation.
all right, I want to ask, we spoke briefly before about some states will allow you to deduct losses and some won't allow you to deduct any losses. So now I think people aren't aware, like if I go to Mississippi and I go to Mississippi and I win a jackpot, I have to pay the state of Mississippi, even though I'm not a resident of the state of Mississippi. And it depends, each state is a little different. But I think, and we put it on our website for each individual state, what the tax situation is. I think it's 3% in Mississippi. And that tax is a non-refundable tax. So even though I'm not a resident of Mississippi, if I happen to win a jackpot there, $1,200 or more, you're got to pay 3% to the state. Now, there are other states where, as a resident, you have to declare the income and pay taxes on it. And I guess, like you say, some will now allow you to. Well, Michigan now allows you to deduct your losses, but some won't. But even if you're visiting that state, you're a non-resident of that state, you are subject to that state tax when you go there. Are you not?
In general, yes. And it goes back to what is called the jock tax, which happened after Michael Jordan of the Chicago Bulls played in a basketball game in Los Angeles, and the California's Franchise Tax Board, the state tax agency, wondered why he didn't pay tax. That's what led to states taxing non-residents. And so let us assume you gamble in Iowa, which will automatically withhold, and you are a resident of, say, Pennsylvania. Okay, you're going to have tax withheld. You're going to need to file an Iowa tax return for that gambling activity. Let's say you owe money to Iowa. You ended up ignoring the withholding. You might get a refund, you might not, but you had gambling tax. You actually, the state of Iowa did not refund all the money that was withheld. Let's just say it was $50. Pennsylvania is required to give you a tax credit for the double taxed income. Your state of residence is required to. It's not optional. There is a US Supreme Court case mandating this. So you end up paying the higher of the two states' marginal tax rates. The joker is Mississippi. Mississippi's gambling tax is a tax on gross receipts, not income. So that basically you're just out that. If you win money in Mississippi, you're going to only win a portion of that money. Say 97% of it is yours and 3% of it goes right back to Mississippi.
But now also there are some cities that, in addition to the state tax, there are some cities, and we mentioned them on our website, AmericanCasinoGuidebook.com, especially Ohio. Ohio has quite a few cities there that also tax you if you win a jackpot in that city. I think it's Cleveland, Columbus, and Cincinnati, and Toledo in certain instances. You got any? So again, if you're a non-resident of that city or state and you win, you're going to have to pay city tax too.
Correct.
Now, are those refundable or no?
Well, generally you're not going to be able to refund them enough on the city return because Ohio is one of the states that doesn't allow gambling losses. So an amateur gambler who has say a $1,000 jackpot in Cleveland is going to owe whatever Cleveland's municipal tax rate is. Again, though, a tax credit can be taken on your home state if your home state has a state income tax. You can take it for all taxes based on income. And this comes from a U.S. Supreme Court decision.
But you can't apply it against the federal income tax return?
If you are deducting taxes, it is an itemizable deduction. Taxes paid is an itemized deduction on Schedule A, and that's based on taxes paid during the year.
But again, that's if you itemize your deductions and don't take the standard deduction, yeah?
That is correct.
Okay, so that does it for the questions we have. And as I said earlier, we had a video from you a year or two ago. And we went back through the comments and pulled in some questions that the viewers had for you that we want to run through real quick at the end here. One person said, what counts as income? I've won 124,000, but I've lost 121,000. So my profit is 3,000. Does this make my gross income for the year 124,000 plus my working wages, or just 3,000 plus my working wages?
If his session results are 124,000 of winning sessions and 121,000 of losing sessions, his adjusted gross income would be the 124,000 plus his wages, and he'd be able to take an itemized deduction of 121,000 for his gambling losses.
Gotcha. Okay. And then one more question there was, I've heard about asking the casino to withhold money from the jackpot to more or less prepay your taxes on a jackpot. Do all casinos offer this?
I've never seen a casino not offer it. Yes, you can have taxes, absolutely. You can say, I'd like $10,000 of my 100,000 winnings for federal income tax.
Gotcha. And then they also said, we've heard about casinos discouraging players from doing this. Have you heard of that?
I haven't, but it wouldn't shock me.
Oh, okay.
And now, why would they discourage them? Just because it's a pain in the neck, more paperwork for the casino?
More paperwork for the casino, yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Gotcha.
Understandable. All right, Russ, if people want to get more information about you and your tax services, where would they go to find that?
Our website is claytontax.com. My email address is rcfox@claytontax.com.
All right, great, thanks.
All right, Russell Fox, thank you very much for joining us today. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of our other great videos.
Yeah, this was a very complicated subject, and you gave us some clarity into it, so we appreciate it. And thanks everybody for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and best wishes for good luck in the casinos.